What is going on, everybody? We are live on a certain point of view here on a Sunday evening as we are here for the weekend show. Hope everyone is doing great out there. We are back, a full slate of Schmoedown to cover, as well as talk to the brand new #1 Star Wars contender in the Schmoedown, Mr. Thomas Harper here very, very shortly. But before we get to that, crew, how's everybody doing? It's the weekend, it's Sunday, Monday's around the corner. How's everybody?
Tired.
I'm good.
Yeah, you are.
Tired.
You had
Not
a busy
hungover.
weekend.
I'm not hungover, but I'm tired.
You had a fun Saturday, Jill.
Saturday. Can't complain. Can't complain about Saturday. Can't complain. It was weird. I think I said last night about 16 times that my brain has not registered that we are all together in the same vicinity again. Like it was weird. It was weird and very, very awesome at the same time. It was great. It was nice. We got the band back together, guys. It's great.
And I can confirm for everybody watching that we didn't find out who was there via picture. We found out every single message someone walked through the door.
Yeah, Jill was one of those little kids that walks through Disneyland and sees all the characters and goes, "Oh, look, Mickey." Oh,
well, because when Ben messaged me, he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a small group." I was like, "Okay, like super cool." And so like I didn't really expect like you guys saw the picture. There was like at least 25 of us. Like it was a lot more people than I expected, and it was like people I didn't think we would see. Like Coy was there, and Ellis showed up, and it was a big, freaking huge, fun, amazing group of people. It was.
So wait, the managers actually like each other in real life? What?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that is. No, of course not. They hate each other. Kaiser and Shannon were just screaming at each other the whole time. Yeah.
I love the fact that twice this month alone, and I'm just using them as an example, but Kaiser and Shannon have gotten together. And obviously, look, we know that everyone loves each other. It's clear. Duh. The Schmoedown is
sometimes we all get along.
Yes, but the Schmoedown is a character thing. It's a character thing. But on social media, just to keep it like towing the line with some fans, they're like, "Yeah, I hate you." Like, and they retweet these photos and they start talking crap to each other over that, and then it just kind of builds things back up. It's pretty funny.
I did tell Ben yesterday, I was like, "I'm sorry if I ever say anything mean about you on POV." I was like, "I know you can handle it, though, and you know I don't actually mean that about you." He was like, "I know." I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad."
Already started.
There he is.
Boy. Oh boy. It's not even on yet. At least wait till he's on.
Yeah. Molly, how about you? How was your weekend?
It was good. We got to go to all of our normal places. I can say that again now. We go to this nerd bar called My Parents' Basement. So we went there Friday night. Saturday we got to go to our improv comedy theater because they're still doing it's like a drive-in movie, but instead of a movie, it's improv theater and it's live.
That's awesome.
Did you participate?
No, I'm pretty rusty. The pandemic hit right in the middle of my very first improv class, so I got about half a class worth of practice.
Not even
the rest of it I got on the Schmoedown.
Lots of yes and happening.
Yeah.
Yes and.
Fun.
And Mr. Brian?
I didn't do anything this weekend. I just lazed around. I got my new Star Wars coloring book that I've been going in.
Nice.
That it's supposed to make you calm, although it's stressing me out, making sure I pick the right colors to put in the right spot. So I think it's doing the opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm like, well, I don't want to pick the wrong color for this lightsaber hilt and then regret it.
I love the picture that you sent us, and you were like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's F. Man." Or
I had no idea.
F. Mon, yeah.
I was flipping through the pages, and I'm like, "The hell is this?" I was like, "This is clearly they put this page in the wrong coloring book. I've never seen this person before in my life." I sent it to you guys. I sent it to Zach. Molly's like, "That's not whatever his name is, Effont Man, whatever." And Zach, of course, goes, I love that guy. And I'm like, I've never seen this person in my life.
Nerds.
Where is he?
And then I sent Brian the
Even has
picture, and
some
he's
backstory.
like clear as day, just like front and center. It's like he was camouflaged before.
I've seen that movie so many times, and I have no idea even where this person is in the movie. So
I remember
the more you know.
learning his name early on and like studying for a match, and I was just like, oh my gosh, all these people have names.
First off, whoever named him, kind of lazy.
Elephant Man. Yeah.
Elephant Man. Yeah.
Just a little bit. They were just like,
That happens a lot in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Come on.
So yeah, I mean, I just saw that and I was like, at first I couldn't tell if you were BSing me or not. I was like, and then you
Even
gave me,
Robert.
like-
Even Robert is calling you out. Look at him. He's like, "Duh, Brian." You know who that is?
Font Mon. Okay, that was gonna bug me whether or not it was an O or an A.
Hi, PJ.
Hi, PJ.
Hi, PJ. All right. Well,
See me in a Star Wars match, Robert Adams, and then we'll talk.
So what we're going to be doing tonight is obviously we're going to be talking to the Major himself here in just a quick second. We will obviously be covering the back end of the pay-per-view from Friday, the IG match between Chandu Dandapani and Robert Parker, as well as the Doug Benson and Chris Van Fleet match from Friday.
Vliet. Who's Van Vliet?
Von Vliet.
You know what? I'm going to pronounce it how I want to pronounce it.
It's a very European. Van Vliet.
So just because we didn't do a reaction, we'll be covering that. And then we will also be revealing the details for Happy Hour, our next Happy Hour for this month. So stay tuned for that as well.
Which is, I realized, is like legit this Saturday.
It is this Saturday.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you know when it is.
Well,
Surprise.
They'll find out who the guest is here in probably about an hour or so.
I'm mentally preparing people that it is in less than a week, Brian.
Yes.
And
you've
Mr.
got
Nussbaum, yes,
two back-to-back.
we will be covering and talking about the free agency pickups quickly because there were a few of them for the Schmoedown. So with all that said, let's just go and bring him in because we have a lot to discuss. He is now the new #1 contender in the Star Wars division. He will be awaiting the winner of Laura Kelly and current champion Andrew DeMolanta, and that is the Major himself, Mr. Thomas Harper.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Sir.
I have to ask. I have to ask something real quick. I think Evan misspelled dingbat. I think he meant to put zingbat there. I didn't have to check it. I'm not sure.
Nice.
Thank you for having me.
The shade
kid, Evan.
already.
I kid, Evan. Not really.
I'm sure he's going to correct this in just a second, but there you go. It's already happening.
It's zingbat. You are awarded no points for that, Evan.
Well, welcome back. This is your third time on the show. And for the first time, you are now awaiting a title match in the Schmoedown Star Wars division. How does it feel to, after this entire journey, we are 6 months into the season 8. It's your first year in the league. It must be pretty crazy that you're at this point now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real that I have somewhat of a break right now. It's weird to say like it's okay to not do anything for a minute. And I have no problem pulling open the curtain. Like I'm not going to be studying like I was for a little bit. I'm going to take a step back and soak things in and let other people sweat as they figure out who's going to face me later down the line. And so even that is weird because I've had sort of this crazy playing 4 matches in a row, basically, because I count that non-tournament match because it was so close on the heels of the tournament. Is just insanity. For competitors that haven't done it before, it's just brutal. And for fans that maybe don't know behind the curtain, it's just the keeping that level of preparation up and preparing and pivoting because every competitor, I do a little. I do stuff a little differently, and I'm constantly evolving my prep methods. It's it's exhausting. So I'm glad to have just a little bit of time to take a step back now, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see someone else talk about how exhausting this is.
Even one match is enough. Molly, you know this. It's like the nerves that go into it, the adrenaline that flows, and then when the adrenaline dumps out,
Mhm.
It's a lot, and I come from a world, Molly, as you know, you prep, and then you have one competition. That's it. Afterwards, we all go grab a drink, and we're like, "Well, that was something. We'll see
Yeah.
you next year." See you next year, Daniel, and that's it. But this is like, okay, let me not only finish a match, but I don't know when exactly the next matches will be, and I have just a stack of note cards where I'm charting out my days, preparing for I'd pick a date and I'd be like, I think it's going to be on this date that we'll play, and then it's not that date, and so I've got to adjust things again. And so there's that element of uncertainty, even though you have a next match, and that alone can be tough as well.
And you have a very unique perspective right now because you have not lost a match yet in the Schmoedown.
Yeah, I think
it's
Marissa
exhilarating.
Yeah, it's until it's not, I guess. Marissa, my wife, may have wanted me to lose at some point, say like get a little bit bigger of a break. I don't know, but no, it's and I also in the background, and I don't make any secret about this, but I've got 2 kids that are 3 and under. I not only do my main 9-to-5 job, but I'm still an Army reservist, and so I've got a lot of plates up in the air. So adding the Schmoedown, which is like adding a giant flying saucer to also keep in the air, has been a real challenge, because I think I told you guys probably at the beginning of the year, or one of our interviews, I didn't come into this just like, let me take everything that I've done before in terms of prep and strategy and whatnot and just stretch it to fit Schmoedown. It's all new. My prep is all new. I just trashed all my old prep. I didn't trash them because I'll still use them for DragonCon, but I just set it aside. You look at the 2 beside each other. There's like a core of what it was for DragonCon, but my Schmoedown stuff looks completely different. And that's a credit to PJ for running a set of questions, match in, match out, that keep folks like us on our toes. So it's a huge time commitment, even for a single match.
How much are you enjoying it, though?
Yeah.
I mean, ask me again if I lose, I guess. I don't know. No, it's fun. The single biggest thing, and this is sort of summarized in the get together this weekend that I was on the other coast and couldn't be a part of, right? Like, it's the community that, like, what's embodied in that photo is a group of folks that have come together over their shared love of whatever franchise or just movies in general, and we've rallied around something that started as just a little goofy one-off that Christian started with Mark, and it's grown into this amazing community. And I include the fans in that as well, because that's those 2 sides of it, the closeness of the players and the managers just collectively around the game, and the fandom that has grown and continues to grow. That's amazing. Like, it's a privilege to be a part of it, and to come on and talk to y'all, win, lose, or draw. Like, that's what keeps me coming back to this. Like, when I'm early 5 a.m. like doing a prep session before my girls wake up, it's that's what I come back to.
So before we get to the serious questions, I mean, this is Ryan Kramer. Kudos to you for catching this. Did you just confirm flying saucers?
I'd neither confirm nor deny. That's you want to talk to the Air Force or the Space Force, I guess. Now I don't know.
That's right. Space Force is a thing.
Yeah, we here in the United States Army stay with our feet or our boots firmly planted to the ground.
Fair enough. Jill, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah. So, did you even at all expect to be coming out of this tournament the winner and a #1 contender for the Star Wars belt? Did you have any inkling that that you could actually win this tournament? I mean, I knew you could. I think all the fans knew you could, but what was your thought process? Like, were you like, oh, we'll see, or oh no, I can totally do this?
I mean, I'm a humble guy. You guys have had me on before, and I think I hope that's shown through. And so there's a huge part of me that was like, do not look past anything. Like, don't even think about. I remember when I was getting ready to play Wit and just thinking about the first round of the tournament, I was like, nope, don't do it. You could lose this match. He's very good. In fact, you're thinking about it, so you are going to lose it, and then and then Kate won't put you in the tournament. Blah blah blah. So those thoughts creep into even my head. But no, I think a big part of me, and I think I can kind of open my shell a little bit now that I'm on the back end of the tournament where I am, and say, yeah, I came into the league to win. I came into the league to prove. Yeah, I didn't create any of the hype that surrounded me or Marie or Zach coming into this. But I came in to prove that, I don't care what you think about DragonCon or me generally, or your idea of me. I'm really good, and I'm going to show that you. I know my stuff, and that's not because I have some special Star Wars bone in my body. I don't. It's
sure?
because.
What would it be called, though?
It's called
What would it
would have a really long name.
It'd be Y-shaped, I think, and
It'd be Y-shaped.
like a wing, like a Y, like a wing type bone. Even though we don't need it, I don't know, something.
Lots of
time.
apostrophes in there.
Yeah, but no, I look at it and I set out even before the draft. I was like, if I do this, and there was a conversation I had with my wife before I got drafted. I said, if I go into this, it's full throttle. Like I'm not gonna go in half-assed. I'm not gonna go in half-hearted. And the worst thing would be for me to come in and flame out, even without all the hype, because that's I set high standards for myself. So I came in, rebuilt all my prep materials, rebuilt my training methods and whatnot, and then had to figure out what working with a faction is like. Yeah. And I hope that on the back end of this tournament, whatever happens the rest of the year, I've proven that I'm somebody that can hang in the league and somebody that can hang in the most competitive division in the movie trivia Schmoedown. And that's no shade on team singles or Inner Geekdom, but
I think anyone in teams and singles and Inner Geekdom would probably agree with you that this is the most.
I can think of one person that.
Yeah, I think somewhere out there, Ben watched that 5-rounder and his 60-day challenge slid to a 120-day challenge.
I will say the 60-day challenge was brought up in conversation at Ben's house yesterday. So
do it.
There's no way. There's no way. Maybe back when Alex had the belt, the game was
right now.
So a month ago? That wasn't that long.
Well, okay, but I'll say maybe before Alex had to play someone else for the belt. Like it was hard, but I think we can all agree it was easier than it is now.
Yeah, you didn't have to sit down and study for weeks to maybe win. It's crazy. We all do, PJ. We all do.
He would have so much fun knowing it's a Ben Bateman match. He would work harder than he ever had.
Yep.
But you can't. There's no money ball in Star Wars. There's no money.
Nope.
You will get no edge. There will be no edge that you can find in this division.
I would love to be the first person to play him, despite being on the same faction. I would just
want to see, even if it's just a mock match, because you would help him study. Like, I would just want to see a mock match with you and Ben, just to see how he does. You would wreck. You would destroy.
These words aren't English. You're messing with me. Like, they are some version.
Love you, Ben.
Real quick, before we move on, we did get a super chat from Mr. Will Watson here. Just want to roll through and salute the View Crew and Major Harper. You guys are so awesome. And it was a joy seeing your tourney run, Major. Salute.
Yeah,
thank you, Will, as always.
Yeah, thanks for all the support you've given me this entire season. I appreciate it very much.
We love Will.
Gold Leader himself has weighed in on this 60-day challenge here. To be honest, I don't disagree with the 60-day challenge idea. I think it's a long, full-time 60 days, but I think if you really commit, you probably could reach a strong level in that time.
If you're studying from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and that's your entirety.
Monday through Friday? I would say Monday
through Monday. You're studying 8 hours a day, 60 hours a day, then maybe you could hang in there. But it would have to literally be your full-time job for 60 days.
At that point, though, by the time the match rolls around, you're going to be so wound around the axle that the first question you miss, and you're going to miss a question, it's going to completely tilt you, and you're going to be out of it for the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Whereas any normal Star Wars competitors can be like, see, I told you so.
Yep. Yep.
Better not shut down.
The idea of studying that hard for that long, no thanks. No,
No,
I'm
thank
not
you.
gonna.
You make yourself go crazy.
You break
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
I would just hope PJ's first question is like, how many stars were in the background of the opening crawl?
Yes. Yes.
like that's
How
like
many-
when you go
How
to
many
a thing
letters
and-
are in Return of the Jedi's crawl?
How
yeah.
many letters?
How many letters?
It's like
Exact
guessing how many
letters.
marbles are in the jar. Like what?
Yeah.
No.
Just throw a number out there.
All right. We did just get a Streamlabs that came through, so I want to make sure I get to this real quick. It's from Selvin Moreno. Thank you,
Thank you,
Selvin.
Hi, Selvin.
Can't stay long, but I just wanted to pop in and say hello to the View Crew and to the Major. I'm glad you enjoyed the GIF I made of your celebration to the win, Thomas.
Nice.
Kelvin was kind enough to send that directly to me because I couldn't figure out how to save it off Twitter. But so that you know, my family has a family text chain, and we're set. None of them know what happened in the match. We're having a family watch party later this week. But I had to.
Cool.
I wanted to send that gift to them, but I held off because I was like, somebody will put it together. Somebody will be like, wait a minute. But I will afterward. That GIF, Selvin, just so you know, has been used extensively in our faction.
I'm sure.
DM thread,
I'm sure.
you know. So
Well, so real quick, and Brian, I'll go to you next, but I do want to ask because obviously we know that when you play, you are locked in. Like there's no, it's complete tunnel vision in the best way possible for you. But every time we've seen you play so far, the second the match is over and your name is called, the emotions completely just flood out. Like they just flood out in every best way possible with the excitement of winning the match, like it would be with anything. What is it? Just like, is it just happen, or is it you want to hold everything in until that moment happens? You don't want to show any emotion during the match because we've seen it for the past 3 matches so far, the tournament, and now this past match as well.
it's a programming error. It's a glitch in my my algorithm, I guess. No, it's because even in the match, I am literally playing question to question, and I play my opponent's questions too. So it's that narrow a focus. And in Evan's match, I had a countdown in my head of how many questions that were left in the match. Not to say you just need to hold on that long, but just to say there is nowhere that your brain can go for this amount of time. And I tell you, going into round 5, when it was down to 3 questions, it was like my teeth were probably chattering, but you couldn't see them. And so, yeah, it's just a total, it's like an involuntary thing. I can't help it. It's an exciting moment. And it's just a sense of relief. It's over. The match is over. You're done. You get a, win or lose, it's all done. And you've made it to that point. So, and the feeling of winning the tournament, my only regret is that my kids weren't back in the condo, so to speak, in time for them to get called back in. There's a moment where you see me like take the headphone off a little bit to hear if my 3-year-old was there, because she has no volume except for Max.
She is 3, so.
But yeah, I mean, it's total happiness. It's like the culmination of a goal that I set for myself. I'd like to think that Evan played one hell of a match, and we put on quite possibly the best pay-per-view so far this season, short of the 5150 match. And it's happy for a whole wide range of reasons. You just got to let it go.
Yeah.
Mr. Brian?
Jake, you said no fun questions, but I've literally had a question.
No fun questions.
Or you said before we get into the serious questions.
I've had
this written down since the first match, so I don't forget. What is the secret of your hat? Is it just a hat with Velcro?
Yeah, we
talked
about Velcro.
Love
I knew it. Yeah. First off,
like an $8 hat.
Yeah,
love it.
My bank account does not appreciate you posting the Ryloth relics stuff. So yeah, I know.
Like there's my ace match, except for that one. But there's my ace match patches. But
Cool.
from Bad Batch,
it's the Thrawn stuff that is getting me. But kind of going off of what Jake just said, don't you kind of think that Kate is trying to make you break just a little bit during the matches?
Always.
Just a little bit, because I don't know how you're keeping so straight-faced, because when she was screaming into the microphone...
Well, and when she goes,
time.
"At ease, soldier."
I lost it at PP Wing. I don't know about you guys.
None of that. I had generally discussed. I was like, I think the whole code word stuff is nonsense, but
I agree. I think it is
clearly
too.
Gold Leader
it played out hilariously in this. Like the moment that Evan Gold Leader just comes out and says like, "I'm betting 3." I was like, hey, that's
was
fine.
The best.
Yeah, it was just I think in this match you saw me playing as loose as I've played, and it felt really good. And for anybody watching, because I know there are people that are still sort of holding out and not liking Kate for whatever reason, but if you don't think that her mentality and what she brings into the match doesn't help me tremendously, you're watching something completely different. Because every single match you see her balancing me out, grounding me, and coming in with sort of exactly what's needed. You saw a very different side of her after round 1 in the Ace match. There wasn't like a ton of goofiness. It was just like, hey, look, kind of grabbing my face mask and getting me back in the game. But she, I think, has shown one of the biggest transformations from last season to this season.
Yeah.
And this is her first 5-round match. It was my first 5-round match, but it's the first time she's ever managed a 5-rounder like that. And I think her skill level, her improvement, and her understanding of how to manage a player like me, differently from a Peggy or a Saul or a Lacey, it shows through. That's where her talent lies. She knows exactly what every player needs. It's not one size fits all. Like, let me give you the old pep talk that's stock standard for every player in between rounds. It's what does Thomas need in this moment based on how that round went. And that's why she's a fantastic manager and why I'm lucky to serve under her on the Den.
Mm-hmm. I love Evan's comment in the chat, by the way. This was so kind. So kind of them.
he has to stay in character as much as possible. So
yes, but also screw.
We had a very good back and forth in his on Twitter earlier, so I encourage folks to check that out. Going some references to every single one of the questions that we've both missed.
Oh God, love it.
He wanted that Dragon Slayer title.
Not gonna have it. And also, taking me out is not the end of it. Like, there are more Dragon Con players. There's one on this call right now. And there's another one in that same house.
There's another one in the chat.
Speaking of said person, there you go.
I write down a dumb image of Biggs just looking stupid, and I'm like, God. I can't flip this around. Alex is my friend; he can't see this.
It's like, look at that stupid mustache.
Look at this. Normally, you add a mustache onto somebody to make them look dumb. I erase his, and I'm like, look, you could never rock a clean-shaven face.
That's true, though. Now I'm just waiting for Brian Ward to Photoshop Biggs without a mustache, and I'm gonna
Please don't, Brian. Please don't, Brian. That's like nightmare fuel. Alex won't be able to sleep for days. Don't do it.
I've been hoping and praying that he turns you, Thomas, into Lobot. That's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
that's what I've
makes
been
some fans
for.
Happy.
Well, there is a championship match around the corner, so we'll see if that actually happens.
I feel like there's a queue now. There literally is a queue now in Star Wars. It's just like, now it's your turn. There you go. Have fun.
Right.
Molly, did you have a question for Mr. Harper?
Yeah, so I feel like you are more known for kind of taking your time with questions, really thinking them out, writing them out on the board. How did you feel about the speed round? Because that terrifies me if I were to ever have to do a speed round. Just like take us through the process of getting ready for that.
I just the board I think is counterintuitive to the audience. The assumption there is that I'm slow and I like work stuff out, and sometimes like I kind of work through things or whatever. But the board grounds me. It slows me down more than anything. Like I use it as sort of like the governor on an engine to keep the speed kind of capped out, because I'm the kind of player, just the way my brain works, that answer is going to pop in my head, and I like to just confirm that it's the right thing. It's either there or it's not. The countdown timer in rare cases is relevant to me, but I use the board to work it through and visualize and make sure. And so with the with my prep for it, I was like, well, I'm not gonna not use the board, but you have to use it differently. Mm-hmm. And so I practice with the board, and obviously you don't have a lot of time to sit there and write down. I think you saw me at the very start, I sort of said, because that was a tricky question. Where does Kit Fisto die? So it's maybe not a tricky question if you've got 3 JTEs and not 9 questions lined up in 60 seconds, but it's a tricky question in that moment. And because he's not the most obvious Jedi that gets killed in that scene. And so you see me stumble, but that wasn't because of the whiteboard. That's just because it was a well written, like, question. And PJ, if you're still watching this, I don't like you for that first question. But
well, I feel like it was meant to make people think of the scene where it's showing like all the different Jedi on different planets dying, so your mind automatically goes to that. But I was like, oh, Kit Fisto. Spin wheels. Who is that even? What?
What's a Kit Fisto?
I don't know. That's not a Star Wars character. Challenge. Wait, I can't challenge. Yeah.
Dang it.
No, it's kind of a whirlwind. I couldn't tell you as extensively as I practiced the 10-rounder. At the end of every single one, I could not remember the questions. I couldn't remember in my own watch through, because I've watched the match once since then with Marissa. I was like, it was like watching it, like playing it for the first time. I was like, I don't remember any of these questions.
Yeah,
blacked out.
How did I get that one? I was literally like the Billy Madison moment where he gives the speech in the debate. In the debate
that was
tournament,
the worst answer. You're wrong. Good day, sir.
Yeah, or like old school, like, oh, I blacked out. I don't know what I said. So yeah, I do. I'll say this: I keep track of how many questions so that I know. I mean, that's not a massive secret. So I do keep track. That I think helps me sort of stay focused and mental. Like I'm not worried about like, oh, how many more are there? I'm like, oh, there's 6. Let's just keep going.
I will say it kind of blew my mind that both of you got the how many movies is C-3PO in, because like as soon as I heard that question, like my brain malfunctioned. I was like, oh god, like because like no, and then nope, no thank you. This is why I don't compete.
Those are the kinds of, I feel like those are the kinds of questions, I mean, just with helping Alex study specifically for speed rounds, the how many blanks of blank questions, sometimes you just have to know those ahead of time.
That's the only way I would have known it.
Yeah.
Nope.
And that one's tricky because Anthony Daniels will literally cash a check for anything, because he's a great actor and he's great in the role, but he's like, Lucasfilm call, like he's got it on speed dial. He picks it up. He's like, I'm in, whatever it is. If your check's always cash, Disney, so I'm good. You just, am I in the suit for this one? No. Okay, that's fine. What do you want me to play? That's good too.
Have you read his book?
I have it on my shelf. I have not read it yet.
We haven't read it either, but I want to someday.
He's just like the consummate showman. He's like, I will never forget the first time I saw him at a celebration. He was like wandering out into the line, his own line for autographs, and he's like, "Who are you all here to see?" And they're like, "You," and he's like, "Bullshit." Just messes. He's like the consummate showman. So
love it.
That would be so genius to just get in line for your own thing to see how long.
I think Bruce Campbell has done that.
They do it.
He's definitely someone that sounds like he would do that.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Well, go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead.
Well,
No, I
was gonna move on to the big one because, and I know it's not for a little bit, but not. I don't want to ask per se who you're looking forward to playing or what do you think about Demon Lanta and Laura Kelly. I want to ask you about that match personally. Demon Lanta versus Laura Kelly. What do you think about the matchup? How are they as Star Wars competitors? Just how excited are you to sit back and kind of see them go toe to toe, and then eventually you're going to be playing one of them. But what do you think about Demon Lanta and Kelly?
They are both phenomenal. They're in that match for a reason. Quite frankly, it's still weird to me that Alex isn't involved in that match. I mean, it's like I half picture that they'll be playing in the they'll I'd like to think they'll play this live in the middle of a wrestling ring, and Alex will come running out from like somewhere
he's got
behind
a steel
stage.
chair.
Yeah, with a steel chair. He'll have a mustache on, and he'll come like flying into the ring. But no, they're both fantastic. There's a reason why Collision is going to be as good as it is, and it's the two of them slugging it out. And I think you're going to see a complete barn burner. I have to think that on the heels of what happened to Laura in last year's tournament and sort of her season not going the way that I think she would admit she thought it would go, that she's ready, locked and loaded. I mean, she's been sitting around since March or February, whenever your contender match was, Molly,
February.
and you've been sitting on the shelf. So she's got a lot of prep time, and likewise, Demolanta's sort of been in the game twice now. Just check this. You'll have to.
I hope they do a thing where he just shows up. All right, I'm ready.
I'm here.
Where's my whiteboard? I have not been given a whiteboard yet.
I'm convinced
right
he's
here.
not going to know how to play a 3-round match. I mean, he'll know how to do it for IG, but not for Star Wars.
That's true.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, as far as the match goes, what I sort of am taking stock in, and this is like not the humble Thomas that typically is out, but I like the fact that I have sort of delivered on what I set out to do, and in doing so in those 4 matches, I think given them something to chew on. I think if the two of them are probably thinking forward a little bit after this match, like, well, darn, I have to play him after this. This is going to be hard enough, but then I have to go through that. So, and rightfully so. I just like I'm not going to come in any less locked and loaded than I did in this tournament, and quite frankly, I'm going to look for ways to improve my game even further. And so I like being sort of that force that's waiting in the wings, that, hey, have your fun at Collision. Have a great time. I don't care who wins the belt, whether it's retained or whether it goes to swag. That doesn't matter to me, because there's a force coming whenever we play, and you're going to have to deal with that. And there's nothing that you can do. No amount of preparation. You can lock yourself. You could sequester yourself. You could study 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's not going to change what I do, and it's not going to change who I am. And you're going to come into that match, whoever it is, and just be gritting your teeth. Like, I hope I don't miss one. I hope I don't have to check down. And if you miss one in round 2, I'm going to be waiting right there. And when my board goes up, as quickly as it is, you're going to know that correct answer is on that board, and that if you miss this, I'm going to scoop those points up immediately.
Ooh.
There you go, Nerd Chronic.
Yeah,
Everyone in chat's like, ooh.
Nerd Chronic is like, thank you.
So I do want to ask though, and I just as a commentator, is there a person that you would like to play more?
I said at the outset, I made a comment early on in the season, like, game recognizes game, strength recognizes strength. And both of them were on a very short list of competitors that I said, I'm not going to call anybody out. I don't do that. That's not for me to do, especially not at the beginning of the season. But I'd be honored to play either of them. Internally, I'm not going to disclose it here. There's a player tactically that I think I would have a distinct advantage over, and I would be ready to take down. I'm not going to say who that is, but
50-50 shot, guys.
We've talked about it internally. I have who I'll be rooting for in the match, and I think I would be ready to pounce on that person when the match comes. So they can wonder about whoever that is, but that's not going to change based on their performance at Collision. That's based on I've reviewed. If you watch me and you think that I haven't watched every second of game tape on you, every interview that you've done, every time you've talked about Star Wars in the context of Schmoedown, and gleaned everything that I can from those things, like, you're kidding yourself. Like, that's part of my prep just as much as the questions and stuff. I'm not moneyballing it like Bateman, because I genuinely don't believe that that's the case. But people have tendencies, people have sort of repeated things that they do match to match, and I look for those things. And it hasn't played out quite the same in every match. But some of that has come to fruition already in this tournament, and it's, I've benefited from some of those things.
So 40-minute mark on this episode, I'm going to send this to NerdConic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am totally imagining right now, if you flipped around your camera, there'd be like a war table with little people on it that you like push when you defeat
a battlefield.
Round one, let's go.
I mean, I'm sold. I will continue to root for you over anyone else,
Molly.
including myself.
What about Alex?
Oh,
Alex?
yeah. He's had his time. He's had his time. He's going to have to work extremely hard to come back from where he's been. And of course, I'm going to help him. But now that I'm in it with him, I'm not going to help him that much.
Oh, Alex.
He's got to want it.
I will say this, that the motivation for the title match more than anything. I'm surprised you can't hear that. Like,
he's gonna
come to the door.
I'm just waiting for him to barge to the door and go, "What the heck?"
Hey,
with his emotional support Biggs belt over his shoulder.
Right.
What the heck, guys?
I would say, knowing the absolute, as tough as this tournament lineup was, knowing the murderer's row that's going to be assembled for the fall tournament, that's motivation enough. Assuming that I get to play my match before that tournament happens, that's reason enough to do well and win my match, because that's going to be a rough tournament for all involved. It's going to be a slugfest. Every single match is going to be like pay-per-view level quality. Yeah. And I think that the stakes will be high for factions as well. Like, forget the title shot at the end of it. I think the faction race will be even more shaped up than it is now, and you're going to see some factions and some players really, really hungry to get their faction points out of there.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at you. Every win is points for the Den. You take that belt, that's 7 more points on top of it. So, I mean, that second tournament's huge. Okay, I have a question that since the second I saw that you weren't at home, you clearly took the chance of playing on vacation. Were you ever just like, if this goes wrong, this is going to really screw up my whole entire vacation? If I'm your wife, I would have been like, really?
You're really going to do this on vacation.
Yeah, Molly, you sound a lot like exactly what I heard. What happened, it's a Friday, so it happened at the tail end of vacation. So I was, having to work around, what we were doing. Because at the end of the day, as dedicated as I am to the Schmoedown, family comes first, second, and third. And that includes, especially on vacation. I was excited to be in the match, bummed that the scheduling worked out that it needed to have a place in my vacation. But at the same time, I have a really, really supportive family, and I played DragonCon. If you go back and watch the DragonCon 2020 video on Alex and Molly's channel, I'm playing in that same room in that same spot. It was so bizarre to be right back there. The only difference is that since then I got a light, and then since then I brought 2 flags that hung up behind me, so you didn't see like the beachy type thing behind there. But it was kind of like, well, if I lose this, I'll just go out onto the porch or the patio in this condo and just have a beer and like listen to the ocean to soothe my sadness.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
There you go.
I feel like the post game, either way, win or lose, you're on vacation, so that makes
Yeah.
it better.
That's fair.
Salty tears in the salty air, I guess. I don't know.
All right, before we let you go, Thomas, we have one Streamlabs that has come through from Curtis Clam Sauce. Curtis Clam Sauce here says, "Hell of a match, Major. Whenever you win the belt, will you upgrade in rank?"
Ooh.
Oh.
You know, promotions are decided by people above my pay grade. I like that. If you don't know, I'm a major in the Army in real life, and so I like that there's synergy there. I don't have to buy new uniform items, those things. The moment every promotion to just wipe away the glamour of it, it's a bill because you got to buy new rank. I got to get new resistance rank badge insignia. I got to learn to respond to a different name. It's a whole thing. I like being the major.
Be upgraded to Grand Moff Major. We'll just make stuff.
That's true.
Grand Moff Major.
That's exactly what Star Wars does anyhow, so it'd fit right in line.
Yeah.
With the whole belt, this is one thing I've been wondering. If you were to win said belt, where the hell are you going to put it in your background?
I don't know.
I'll make it.
It'll find a place. I don't know. I'll tell you, no Y-wing will be displaced, even for the belt. I'll say that. That's the only promise I'll make.
That's fair. All right, Mr. Harper. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us for what's almost been an hour now. It's been great to talk with you again. Congratulations
Thank you very
on
much.
this number one contender win, and awaiting to see who wins that belt here at Collision. You've had a hell of a road so far. Cannot wait to see what happens in this title fight when you do play them, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, everybody.
Of course.
Thank
Have a good
you,
night.
Thomas. Congrats.
Y'all too. Bye.
Congrats.
Oh, that was
No, but
awesome.
really, where is he going to put that belt?
Yeah.
There's no room. There's
He'll
none.
Make room.
He'll make room.
He'll make room. Once you get that belt, it's gonna be. I don't want to say front and center because Y-wing.
It'll be second to Y-Wings. Everything else will move. Y-Wings will be first, then the belt. Yes.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
So,
If I got the belt, I would just wrap it around Grogu,
Of course.
and I would have the best version of Grogu that I would
it would
ever.
cover his entire body. His little head would be poking out over.
Just like hello.
All
My
right,
adorable little belt.
real quick, before we get into this IG match, I want to change it up a little bit. Let's announce happy hour.
Yay.
Let's announce happy hour. I will leave it to the ladies to announce happy hour time, guest or guests. But ladies, floor is yours.
There will be guests.
I'm assuming there will be guests
There will
because
be.
As I may have Alex. Perfect. 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 I'm excited for the day you get it back, sir. I will say that. But happy hour. So I did kind of say that yes, it is this Saturday, if I can do my math correctly. It is Saturday the 19th. And we say guests because there's one scheduled guest, but with this scheduled guest, you know there's
a whole party that comes with him.
There's a whole party that comes with it, and get your magic trick requests ready, friends, because we have got the spider himself, Mr. Robert Parker, is joining us for happy hour. Will he wear his iconic suit? I don't know. I'm assuming he'll be wearing a bow tie with whatever he's wearing.
A white tee.
Whether it's a
By
white
the-
tee.
By the end of the
Or-
night, it will just be the bow tie.
By the end of the night, knowing Robert, by the end of the night, it will probably just be the bow tie. So, we will be joined by Mr. Robert Parker. We are working on the cocktail right now. We should hopefully have that in the next, we will have that the next couple days because happy hour's on Saturday. So, it's going to be a fun one. I'm super excited. He's super stoked. So, yeah, let's party.
He's already blown my mind more than once with the magic tricks that he can do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sober or not sober, I've seen him both ways, and I'm
He
just
might be a better magician, not sober, for all we know.
I mean,
there you go.
Yep, and I haven't told him yet that I'm expecting magic tricks.
I
It's
put it in the
implied.
tweet, so he'll see it via tweet.
Cool. So, but knowing Robert, he's like, what? He'll be fine. It's okay.
I was gonna say, I think is this the first dungeon player that we've had?
Um,
Other than Molly. That's what I'm saying.
I think so.
I think it's our first dungeon.
Yeah.
Dungeon
Yeah.
head.
It is our first.
Oh
So-
Lord!
and-
Where there's
Wait,
one,
look.
there's many.
In reality, when one comes, they all come. So look out. Everybody.
Yeah.
When there's one, there's many.
Look
Yeah.
out.
It's possible that this will end up a dungeon party.
I will be surprised if it doesn't. It's not being just a dungeon hangout. So be sure.
I'll
to join us.
I'll whisper it to everyone else on the group chat. Like, if you're around on Saturday, I mean,
Oh God, our backstage is going to be wild. Holy, yeah. Holy.
We're gonna have to get out of there. and make
Kaiser's
room.
gonna. You know, if Kaiser's available, he's gonna hop
Whew.
in.
All right. Well, that'll be Saturday again. This Saturday, drink will come out later this week, and be ready for a good time, everybody. Real quick, I do want to post this during a conversation we were talking about Biggs with no mustache. Brian Ward already had it on deck, and here you go.
I hate it. I hate everything about this. I hate it.
Away.
I hate
My
it.
eyes!
I hate
eyes!
everything.
He just looks naked. He looks naked.
I'm not
I
lying.
hate it. I
My
hate
eye
everything.
Just started twitching because when it did
Ah.
that.
All right. Let's get into the Alex.
Now that we're all scarred for life, yeah.
I know.
Ew.
Oh my god, ill.
Ew.
Let's get into this main card here for pay-per-view. And it was a big one. It was a 3-rounder between these number one contenders, Mr. Chandru, the Trojan Dandapani, and Robert the Spider Parker. And we all know, and again, spoilers if anybody who has not watched the match. I hope you have seen the match if you are here with us. Chandru walks away with a very narrow victory. And for the second time this week, multiple choice bit someone in the rear. It happened twice this week. It happened in the first match with Zach and Gold Leader earlier this week, and then it happened on Friday as well. I'll start with the Streamlabs. This came from the swag shill himself, not Chuck, but one Ryko. And I know it's you, Ryko. I know it's
I
you.
saw that coming.
Ryko, I know it says swag shill, but I know for a fact it's Ryko. So it says I have no problem saying I told you so. Because we all predicted Parker winning. Those were our choices. We all picked the Spider himself. And so Chandru comes out with a 1-point victory over Robert, and he is facing Mike Kalinowski at Collision for the IG belt. Let's talk about this one because this was, for a 3-round matchup, this was very crazy. Parker misses the first question. Chandru misses the second question. And there's no perfect rounds, obviously. They are tied going into the second round, but they didn't get the perfect rounds. And then Parker ends up going to multiple choice in second round just once. And that was the deciding factor in this match. Crazy match. Two competitors who obviously know what they're doing. Top tier at their game. And yeah, I mean, look, Chandru won. He proved us all wrong. He is facing Mike again for the belt, trying to get it back. Molly, I'll start with you on this one. You didn't know ahead of time, obviously, him being in Dungeon Head. This was live. What was your reaction to this one?
I mean, watching IG matches is hard because I've obviously seen and helped Alex study for those a little bit, but it feels so much harder for me to watch because I'm like, oh man, they have so many different movies to have to know stuff from. But it's still like an enclosed thing. But watching along to this match was hard, and I although I do appreciate the amount of sass right off the bat between the two of them, like because Parker missed the first one, Chandru was like,
that was the funniest thing. I don't think I've ever seen someone diss the person that missed and then
miss.
And then miss. Yeah, he was like, the first one hurts the most or something like that.
Karma's a bee, my friend.
And then Parker says it right back.
I literally texted Parker and I was like, that clap back though.
If I didn't know, obviously players aren't throwing matches, like you couldn't have scripted something like that.
Yeah.
Because the pure ironicness of that made me laugh so hard.
And I think those first two questions, they both used repeats on, if
Correct.
I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
And they both missed with the repeat.
yeah. And so right off the bat, I appreciated the level of difficulty and just like I don't know, just knowing that it's not going to be someone playing a perfect game takes a little bit of stress and pressure off. But yeah, I have to imagine Parker afterwards was kind of like, oh, like what if I had spun, like done a respun, because he was kind of like thinking about it, and he was like, no, I'm going to stay with TMNT.
I was very surprised, and I don't know what he knows, obviously.
Yeah.
I was very, very surprised that he stuck with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that could be a very deep category.
Yeah,
That was shocking to me.
That whole wheel was hard. I mean, like
it was. But both matches, the questions were insane.
Yes.
Insane.
And like I was positive that they weren't going to put Middle Earth on there. Not positive, but like that's a huge strength of his, obviously. So if he couldn't get that, I was, hoping he would get something that he wanted. And I don't know, like I wonder how this would have went if he had respun and gotten something else. But yeah, this was tough to watch because I was rooting for Parker, but I'm excited to see Chandru and Mike play. Who isn't?
Well,
God
in correction, I am corrected here. It's not at Collision. It's actually the week after. So it is the week after, which I'm kind of shocked it's not at Collision, but we will do what we will do. With three pay-per-views a month. With 3 pay-per-views a month, it makes sense to put title cards on pay-per-view events, not just Collision. I get it. But
is there going to be an IG match?
I don't know. The schedule's there. I can't remember the exact schedule. I'll pull it up here in a second. But we did get a Streamlabs real quick. I was wrong. That was not Raiko. That was Chuck. That was the swag Chuck.
I was going to say.
Raiko has now sent in one. So here we go. It goes, that wasn't me, but I'd love to second that. I told you so. Never doubt the chosen one again. But honestly, I think one of the biggest differences was that Chandru and Winston were allowed to be a cohesive team again. That's big. Because last time we saw Chandru, they were on opposite ends of the spectrum.
The Swagconda is maybe the funniest thing I have ever seen on the Schmoedown. I was dying laughing. I was crying every time.
Pretty good.
That whole thing started. It was so good. So good.
Okay, I've been corrected again. Apparently I didn't know the dates have been happening, but Collision now got moved to the end of July.
Oh.
All right.
So
hot takes.
I apologize.
What do we know?
I thought it was the second week.
We know nothing. We know nothing. We're just here.
We're just here to talk.
There we go.
We're just here to talk.
They're very well. So the winner of that match might be facing an IG person at Collision for the title. Who knows? But either way, we're getting Mike Chance in the middle of July. Awesome. Jill, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, thoughts on this one. So unfortunately I couldn't watch it live because I had junk to do Friday night. But Brian was updating me and he texted, he goes, Parker missed question 1. And I think I went, oh dang.
Yeah.
And then right after he goes, Chandru missed question 2, I went, oh dang. So from there I knew this was gonna be one of those scrap battle matches. And like we said, it came down to one multiple choice, and it sucks. And I know Robert took that loss really hard, and it's I have a lot of thoughts on certain things that I will keep to myself. But I'm going to quote Rachel Cushing again, which I believe I have said a couple times on here, that I do not respect the disrespectful. And I will leave it at that. But I'm very freaking anxious for Chandru Kalinowski just because... Oh, dear Lord.
At some point, the principal is going to call them.
I'm going to, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch it just because the smack talk itself is just going to be, so insane. And I'm just going to be no, stop it.
Stop it, I can't watch.
I can't watch. Yeah, exactly.
It's horrible. Keep going.
Exactly. But, I I was rooting for Parker on this one, but I clearly I know how good Chandru is. He's a former champion for a reason. He took the belt from Smets for a reason. It wasn't a fluke. Like, he knows his ish, and he continues to prove that he knows that. And I will say I'm sad that, because I do want Parker to get his moment, and I feel like he hasn't had that quite yet, and I think he deserves to have that moment. Maybe later next year or this year that'll happen. I hope. I'm always rooting for Parker. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm very, very anxiously awaiting Chandru v. Kalinowski.
We had a question in conversations leading up to this about how Chandru was going to be, right? Because the last time we saw him, he was kind of in a different headspace. The whole Winston thing and swag had been happening, and then after the match, we had all those cutscenes about the uprising of Chandru and Laura trying to take place, and it quickly got very squashed by both Paul and Winston.
Yay, Paul!
Yeah, and we had just been curious of like how he was going to be. He looked like old Chandru, like just old school Chandru who came in a costume. You know, he's a younger guy who has an incredible amount of energy.
Too much.
And
Too
he
much
brings it
for
into
my
his
own
match.
That's a really nice way of putting
He has a lot of energy.
how he
He has
acted.
a lot of energy. He has a lot of energy.
I will say, just from a cosplay standpoint, his former costumes were meh. This Jack Sparrow one was actually pretty
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah.
He did step it up for this one, I think.
I'll give him that. Your Jack Sparrow costume was solid.
On the Parker side, you know, sometimes you need to, and we've heard it before, sometimes you need to lose to make yourself a little bit better. And he lost last year, surprisingly, to Chance, and Chance went on to win the IG tournament. He came out like a fireball this year, talking about Parker, and just destroying his IG matches leading into this one. And any other match, going to multiple choice would not have hurt him. Playing Chandru or someone like Mike or someone of that Mara, that's where it hurts you. And unfortunately, it was just that time, the 1 out of 10 time where it hurts you in the worst way. And Chandru just ended up going perfect. But I do think he will have his time. But Chandru clearly is much more of a consistent player than I thought he was personally. If he gets that belt back, there's a conversation of him being as one of the greatest IG players that this league has ever seen. I mean, because he had won it for the second time. Like that's and beating Kalinowski at the same time. Like that's big.
Double belted and defended.
Yeah. That's pretty big. So, Brian, what do you think?
We are at a level in this week showed. If you check multiple choice, you could lose.
In IG and Star Wars.
In IG and Star Wars.
Which sucks.
I mean, it could be that way in singles and teams.
And I will say number 1 contender matches, title matches, and possibly like tournament finals in those divisions. Yes, 100%.
But that is the level that these people are bringing. The fact that doing the right thing, checking your answer, just to be sure. Maybe you know it. You're not 100% sure.
I'm curious if that was the one he was thinking of.
I mean, we'll never know. But, well, I mean, we could if we asked. But
tune in for happy hour on Saturday.
But that could be make or break now. This is the level that these people are playing at. Even if you aren't you're kind of sure, you're not sure to the point where you need to check multiple choice, you could lose the match. That goes for anyone in these divisions right now. Now, I'm not just saying this for Parker, and I'm not just saying this because of Zach, because we saw it this week. Anyone does a multiple choice, it's a gamble now. Yeah. It's literally a gamble instead of being
on their
safe.
faces too when they know.
Yeah.
It never did I think we would get to the point that we would go from multiple choice being like, okay, that's a safe move. I'm not sure, so I'm just going to check down, to this could cost me the game.
Yeah.
Like that is the level that these players are playing at.
Yeah.
It blows my mind
Mhm.
that something like multiple choice, where you're gonna come out with a point, possibly, you still could lose.
It's
because
now
of it.
it's now becoming a strategic move. If you want to go to
it's-
multiple choice or not.
And I know it's not considered to be, but you're literally playing perfect and you're still losing.
Literally,
I mean,
you're
yeah,
you're
look
not
at
missing
Zach.
a question.
You're not missing
Yeah,
a question.
Zach played a
Zach
perfect game.
never missed a
Yeah.
question. Nothing. He checked down and still lost. He got every single question right in his
Mhm.
match,
Still lost.
but he still lost. It's just blows my mind that these two divisions specifically are at that point. And I hate that I'm saying this because it's like beating the people that lose these matches because of it, but that's literally where we're at. It's incredible. And I mean, yeah, it's wild that it went from being safe, get that point, to I could now lose because of that 1 point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I do feel like the questions are getting a lot harder and more specific, to the point where you can tell the question writers are trying to make it so where that doesn't happen. Like, people are not playing perfect games.
Good.
And yeah, so that's obviously preferable. Like,
Yeah.
let's get them to miss something in round one.
Yeah.
So that, we don't have to have people playing a perfect game, but going to multiple choice and still losing. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's rough to see that happen, but I think the question writers are getting very sneaky in a good way.
Sneaky.
Here's your
For them,
here's your
I guess.
here's your IG match. Your first question is freaking Flash Gordon and Joy. Like,
Right.
And what was some?
It was
I
I think it was a Lord of the Rings question.
the second
was
one
where-
was
was Lord of the Rings.
It was like,
Which
where
is-
was Legolas from?
which is what Parker's clapped back all the more.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Just because it was
Yeah.
a Lord of the Rings question.
I
It's
do
wild.
have a bit. I guess you can kind of call it a critique, and it's just my opinion on what I would love to see personally.
Well, is he, Jake?
I personally think that these matches, number one contenders for whatever division, should be 5-rounders.
I don't disagree.
I would have loved to have seen these two play in a fight, whether it's a title fight or not. I think that if you make it to a number one contender shot match, if you win, you're playing in a title fight. I
Yeah.
think that those two matches, title matches, number one contender matches, personally, should be all 5-rounders.
I agree. 100%.
I would have loved to have
Pardon?
seen them do a betting round, and not because I'm not saying like, oh yeah, Parker would have won on a 5-round. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I wanted to see them fight out more. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
the 3-round felt so short for seeing Chandru and
Yeah.
Robert Parker. Like
'cause
I wanted to see it all.
Yeah, when I watched it today, I watched the full match actually today, and I was going through it, and I was like, round 3 happened, and I was like, wait, isn't this the betting round? And I had to remind myself, oh wait, no, this isn't a 5-rounder. Like I kept
Mhm.
having to remind myself, this is just a 3-rounder. But I agree. I think regardless if it's a tournament final number one contender match or not, I think if you were just in a number one contender match, I agree it should be a 5-match thing. I'm sure
Pardon
PJ
me?
is just going, hush, no,
Yeah.
but sorry.
I'm kind of
But-
like right down the middle on that one, personally, because like, and Jill, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
No. That's all I was saying is that I agree with what Jake said, that I believe
I'm
that
like-
everyone should be 5s.
Yeah, I'm like right down the middle of it because the frequency we've been getting of these number one contender matches, like there's kind of almost like at least a couple a month. So it's like it makes the title a little bit that much harder, but at the same time, like Jake said, like these two could have easily just gone on forever.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
And
And-
it could have ended up this same exact way.
Yeah.
They could have gone perfect,
absolutely.
and Parker could have lost by 1. But I wanted to see them for 3 more rounds, or 2 more rounds, technically.
Especially with people and characters like Sean Drew and Parker.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see them duke it out. Like, I wanted it to go on for longer. So
Yeah.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm like split like right down the middle of it. My like greediness is like, yeah, give me 5 rounds. But then I'm like kind of like, well, I mean, it is kind of like reserved for the championship.
But if they're gonna do it at the end of a tournament, a number 1 contender match, and that's a 5 rounder. Like,
And I'm looking at it from a sports background, whereas if you look at baseball, the league championship series are 7 games, just like the World Series. Everything else is 5.
Yep.
Like, I know that it's a different thing. Like, it's a completely different thing.
No,
but
it's. I mean,
I
this
know
is a
that
sport.
title fights are super important, but to me, number 1 contender spots are just as important in title fights. Like,
Mhm.
to be able to if you get to a number 1 contender match, like freaking bravo! Like,
Mhm.
that doesn't happen for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But
And I'm seeing everyone in the chat saying that guy was a fantastic announcer.
He was.
Yes,
fantastic.
he was.
He's been doing
Absolutely.
great.
Killed
He's been
it.
doing great all year long.
Yeah.
It's funny because he read a Star Wars question for Rise of Skywalker, and I put, how does he know that movie? And someone from SEN, I think, put, he reads whatever's on the teleprompter. Like, from Anchor.
Nice. Nice.
So, I was like, yeah, touche.
Nice.
But yeah, dude, Andrew's doing fantastic on that.
More
Yeah,
Andrew on the desk, please. More Andrew on the desk. I love
Mark
it.
and Andrew are pretty entertaining together. I will say that.
Yeah, and Andrew's been getting a lot better too. And he's been taking over a lot more stuff, which is cool to see as well.
He got to do he announced he got to
Yeah.
do the let's get ready to the Schmoedown
Mhm.
stuff, and that's
I can't wait to see the day that he does the rules and it's just like weird.
I'm not ready for that.
It's just
No,
like
yeah,
weird.
that
No.
you took it a step too far there.
Not
so-
ready.
Yeah,
for that.
it's gonna happen. You know what's gonna happen.
Not right.
Not
No,
the
I don't
rules.
want to talk.
No.
No,
real
That's
quick,
Mark
no.
Ellis.
Before
No,
we move
no.
on to Benson and Van Fleet, because we do have to cover that, we do have a Streamlabs here from Takian of the Source. Thank you so much,
Hello.
Takian. Now, and this is we did want to bring this up at some point. Now that it's been confirmed that it will only be an 8-person IG tournament, who do you think the Dungeon will put in, Mara or Parker? It seems crazy that one of their seasons could be over. And I will say this before we start talking about this. We are going to have a show dedicated to predicting who's going to be in these tournaments, both for IG and Star Wars. Those will be happening soon. But we can touch on this quickly because it was talked about on the pay-per-view. We're not seeing the big one like last year, where it's 2-person perfection. We're seeing the 8. Thoughts about the Dungeon, particularly with Mara and Parker.
I want more people.
Boo.
So do I. I want 16. I want 16.
Boo.
He's 16.
Jake,
just because it's
Go.
longer and just because it gives more people an opportunity to play. Like,
And I
Well-
get that there hasn't been as a frequency of IG matches in the past like there has this year.
Yeah.
But come on, there's at least 2 IG players on each faction.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
feel like this
and-
is a thing where there's like the editors for the Schmoedown are probably just like so burnt out.
yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it. The people working on these things behind the scenes to edit them and get like churn them out. It's hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, definitely. It's definitely probably a behind the scenes factor more so than it is a.
Which I get. Totally.
And we
understand.
greatly appreciate everyone that's behind
Oh,
the scenes,
100%.
for sure. I mean,
100%.
they are literally the like oil that runs the machine.
Yes.
So
And it's going to be fun though because it's going to make these managers really like strategically pick these players, right? They have to sit down and look at the numbers and maybe even look at the paths of these players. Like for Molly, for example, right? You guys have 4 Star Wars players on the Dungeon that could legitimately play Star Wars. You're going to be more than likely the choice to be for the tournament upcoming here this fall. And Kaiser probably is looking at the numbers like, hey, like, well, this is her path right now. She is headed in this direction. She's the best choice for this tournament outside of the other players. Maybe schedules come into play, certain things that come into play as well. So with Mara and Parker, it could be very different. I don't know. Mara just had the belt, so we don't know where her path really lies.
Mhm.
Parker might be the better choice because of that reason, more point opportunities, but I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there is going to be crazy decisions that had to be made from the 8 to 16. First off, if there was 16, it would be like the best of the best. And every single one of those matches would basically be title shots. Like that's what the level of what the play would be. But like the thing that's going to be crazy, you cut it down to 8. You have some decisions to be made if you're a manager.
Especially it's at the end of the year because you're looking for those points.
I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of the managers right now.
So because I mean, look at some of these teams. Mara Parker, Stars, Alex or Hannah. Who else is there?
Corruption. If Kalinowski doesn't maintain.
Well, if Mike doesn't have the belt, yeah, you're right.
We don't know. You got Kalinowski or Chance. Like,
and on the Star Wars,
he's gonna maintain though, so Chance will be in the tournament.
On the Star Wars side, if Laura doesn't beat Dimlanta, Laura or Ace.
Yeah,
it's
Star Wars.
Yeah, there's just some crazy decisions that are gonna have to be made. At the same time, when I think about that, I'm like, damn, can you imagine like the 16, like Mara and Parker would be in it. Maybe Mike and Chance would be in it. Alex and Brandon would be in it. Like the level, it would just be like
I think we'll get there one day.
One day, I'm sure. Hopefully all these people are still around. But like, dang.
I think also like it's the players when they talk about this, because it's not just the managers making this decision. Like obviously the players are going to talk to each other, talk to the manager together. There's a good chance that one of the players in question would be like, you go ahead.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would love to just kick back and, I'll continue to prepare for whenever the next time I get an opportunity to play is. And it's as easy as that. I mean, I think not all the players are like super ready and excited to play at any point. So there's usually going to be one player that wants it a little bit more, and that might be the deciding factor.
Yeah. I think when it comes to Mara, Parker, there's 3 ways this will be decided. One of them will go, I want you to have the opportunity. Number 2 would be a coin toss. And then number 3 would probably
you have them play each other and the winner goes.
That or just a scheduling. Who's available?
Yeah. That is like the big asterisk of everything. Because
I think the dungeons, that's the biggest thing that it's most likely going to be is a scheduling.
Yeah, I mean that makes the absolute.
I do not envy Kaiser's decision in this.
And think about when Smets comes back,
and when Kevin comes back. You're muted.
Oh, Jesus, because I was moving my chair and it sounds like an old crinkling thing. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I do not envy Kaiser when this season is over, because if Smets is back, how in God's name are you going to pick your keepers, sir? Like,
yeah.
Have fun.
I mean,
hopefully you win the championship, and that's what you get to look at.
I don't want to speak for the dungeon, but I think I'd be like, Smets, you go ahead.
Oh, absolutely.
You. Oh, yeah. Everyone in the dungeon would be like, come back to your rightful place, good sir.
But that's also up to him and when he wants to come back and whether or not he feels ready. So I don't know.
Yeah, Brian, that's a perfect example. Scrimshaw is a very busy person. Will he be available? We don't know. So that is a whole thing that honestly is probably the top thing that is going to determine who plays, and then it trickles down from there. The schedule.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, before we move on, we did get a super chat here from Mr. Thomas.
Hi,
Hello,
Thomas.
Timo from the Action Guys. Sorry for that. No worries.
Don't
No worries.
apologize.
All
It's
good.
Ben and
For
Drew.
shame. Where's
All
my
good.
shame?
Also,
Oh,
I did
good.
I did give Drew back. I gave his award back.
That's right.
Nerd Chronic, hold on real quick. Nerd Chronic,
Ooh.
go to the 40 minute mark. Harper cut the perfect promo for
Oh,
you, dude.
there's
You
a
don't
Harper
think he's
promo in
been
there
here
for ya.
lurking the whole entire time?
I don't know. He's probably a busy dude.
Poor guy.
I need to find a replacement. Maybe I'll replace that at the award show next year.
Mm.
I could think of a pretty good award that would replace that.
Huh, I
Yeah.
wonder which one.
But do they make 4 of those?
I'll
They
be
got
like,
them
we could do
better
it. We
because
could
I'm
we could
done.
do it like Mean Girls. We could like rip a piece and like
Absolutely not.
you get a piece.
We each get our own heads. Like if our heads are
I
on
would
it.
literally, I
I'm-
would literally be that part where I forget what his name is when she breaks it initially. They go like if that would
We'll
be
have
me.
to just rock, paper, scissors for it.
I'm sure if we ask nicely, if we win, that they
I
would
would
make.
take it.
Well,
to
we know
freaking-
who makes them, so
I
We'll
would
kindly
literally-
ask.
I would take it to a copy place.
Sure.
all right. Well, we do have to move on here. We have a couple more things to quickly get through, and I want to cover this Doug Benson and Chris Van Fleet match because this is a match
Oh,
that
Yes.
Boy.
has been
Oh
looked
boy, oh
forward
boy.
to for many, but
Chris
also
Van
one
Vliet.
here. Molly has been looking forward to this match all year long.
Molly got points.
Molly got points.
Yeah.
And they come with little high asterisks next to them. Because
Just a
my
little-
goodness, was
just
this
a
a
little.
match? My goodness,
What is his
was this a
nickname?
match?
High Time.
High time.
High Time
High
is his
Time.
nickname. High Time.
Molly,
What
I'll
was
let you
Chris's
start.
again?
Chris's is the cooler.
The cooler. Yeah.
Molly, what did you think about this one?
This match went exactly how I hoped it would.
Summed up my thoughts.
And you know, it's hard because I am a fan of Doug Benson before he was even in the Schmoedown. Yes, Chris Van Vliet is in my faction, but I picked Doug Benson for my fantasy team, and I just was so excited. Ever since last season when we were on the same faction together, I was like, oh my god, I could maybe talk to Doug Benson about movies, but he didn't end up playing. But I loved watching these two play. It was so laid back, and I think my favorite part of the match was Doug Benson's round 2, where every question he got, he would go "Yikes!" and then nail it.
It was like his yeah, I got this.
Yeah. And
Yikes.
they were like, I think Mark said, I don't know if he's just making lucky guesses or
Yeah.
if he just really knows these. And I was like, this is the best. This is everything that I could have wanted. And yeah, they both did really well. And
They went into overtime. I mean,
Yeah.
So this was perfection for me. And I can't wait to see Doug play again.
I know that Doug Benson's a movie guy. I know that he runs a very, very popular podcast, and it's kind of it's what he does. I know that Chris is in the business as well, but I was never sure how it was going to translate into movie trivia. That's always the big question, right? There were obviously a few things that they need to get used to this. It's a whole different experience, but I was definitely shocked at how well they both did.
Mhm.
There were some questions that I was like, wow, kudos to both of you. For getting that one and then
were
going into
hard.
overtime as well. It was a much better match than I was expecting. Because I knew nothing about Chris, I was kind of expecting Doug to kind of just roll through, do what he needed to, and win the match. But Chris played extremely well. Sam and Doug together are absolutely hilarious.
Mhm.
Just amazing. And Kaiser is great with Chris as well.
Yeah.
They kind of have that sportsy background vibe to together.
Mhm.
But yeah, Molly gets points. Suspect gets points. Both much needed. And a great Friday match. Really, really good Friday match
Yeah,
before a very
it was a fun
chaotic
one.
Friday pay-per-view. So kudos to them both.
Yes.
Brian, what'd you think?
This is the epitome of a palate cleanser match. You don't expect them to be
That was amazing. That moment, by the way. The Ghostbusters question.
You just you aren't going into this type of match thinking like, all right, this is a potential championship belt match. This is a perfect example of fun and the ones that you love to see in the middle of like high anxiety, high stress.
We need more of them.
Season.
We need more of them.
Where
I mean,
look at this week. Look at how insane this week was matches wise. There were like barely any questions missed the whole entire week. People were losing by checking multiple choice. And then here comes this match, and it's just pure chaos, but in the absolute best kind of way.
Yeah.
And these are some of the ones that people remember for a long time just because of how fun they had watching it. And honestly, sometimes these are the ones that people tell people to watch because it's just so fun. You're just like, oh my God, what is going on? And not to mention, it went to overtime. So you got like the whole shebang like wrapped into one. And I'm with Jake. I personally, Van Vliet, I was like, Molly's been hyping up Benson for us forever. So like I expected him to come in and just steamroll Van Vliet. Van Vliet held his own. I mean, he looked great. So it was just like a perfect combination, like wrapped into one. And it was great. It was a fantastic match.
Jill?
I need a match like this one before the Sean Drew Kalinowski match.
That's a great
Like, I need something like this to, like...
Who could Doug Benson play that would be just
Kevin
as fun?
Smith,
Kevin
please.
Smith.
Well, Kevin Smith is playing Marisol, though. So
He's playing Marisol.
I know, but I'm saying that match... Can you imagine?
I guess that's like a celebrity match, technically, so that makes sense.
Jericho, but Jericho has a losing
I'm trying
record.
to think of Schmoedown players.
Lon. Well, maybe
my
Lon.
God.
Greg
Lon
Alba.
would be...
Lon would be amazing.
Greg Alba would be fun.
Greg Alba would be a great choice as
Video,
well.
Video Drew says Video Drew.
Video Drew. Oh my God. Video Drew and Doug Benson would be incredible.
That would be fun.
There's a handful that would make some very entertaining.
Yeah. but for me, I was sold with this match when Chris came on screen and he was polishing an Emmy. And I was like, I was like,
waiting.
all right, the bar has been set. This is going to be a fun one. And then you could tell that there's a reason why his nickname is the High Note. And it was very evident.
Multiple times.
Very on brand.
Was that to me? Were you talking to me?
Yeah, very on brand. It was great, and it just an overall fun match. Did I expect this match to go overtime? Hell no. No one expected this match to go into overtime, and then it did, and I was like, oh my God. And then it was funny because they just kept getting everything wrong.
Yeah.
And so it went on forever just because everyone kept getting wrong answers, and you could tell Mark is just like, oh God, we're gonna be here all day. Like, it was. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
I was just like whenever they would get something wrong, they would just like laugh and be like, "Oh, duh!
Oh man!
Oh, Billy!" Like you never see that anymore.
It was like Doug Benson mistaking Slapshot for semi-pro.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, not the basketball movie, the hockey movie.
one. Like, it was great.
He put Angela Bassett for an answer.
Oh, for a male character, yeah.
For a male character.
Yeah. It was great. They were both just having a great freaking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they were learning the game as they played. They were using their JTEs. Like, they got in the groove of things. And what a joy. What a treat that match was. That more of those, please. Thank you.
Molly, you've been hyping. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, you've been hyping this up for a year and a half. Did it live up to your expectations?
Yes.
Yeah. Literally, she has been probably the number one.
Talked about on this show plenty of times.
Yeah, she's probably been Doug Benson's number one like cheerer. And
I was like, it's just like just waiting for him to come in and play a match, and then I was like, you'll see. He knows. Yeah. He has a whole podcast about it, and Sam's been on the podcast several times.
I want to give credit to two people here, Mr. Logan Burton and Brian Nussbaum. This will 100% be the next match. Benson versus Horowitz.
Ooh.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
They both won. They're both in the space. It makes sense. A lot
Yeah.
of people are saying Paul
Dude.
Walter Hauser. Paul Walter Hauser would have been perfect.
They're on
are
the same faction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Paul Walter Hauser
Dude.
did lose.
Horowitz,
He's legit.
I could see having a belt.
He's
I could
legit.
too.
Horowitz
I
is
could
great.
too.
Horowitz is great.
He-
If he actually studies, he's legit. He's legit.
Yeah, that dude is good.
Mhm.
So
All right.
Yeah, this-
before we
we love a good fun match. We
Yes.
love a good
Yes,
fun
we
match.
do.
100%. Real quick before we get out of here, we want to go through this free agency stuff that happened very quickly because a couple
Ooh.
SCL players were picked up, some drops were made. So I'll just run through it really quick. So the first transaction that was made outside of Andraco retiring, the Stars picked up Nick Harley, who is fighting for the FCL belt on Tuesday. After that match, he will officially be a Star moving forward in the move to
What happens
Schmoedown.
if he wins the belt?
It's just vacated, I believe.
He
if I'm not
vacates?
mistaken.
Mm.
Yeah, and then it just moves on. But he's allowed to play in that match because it was already set before he
Got
was
it.
picked up. And I'm sure someone in the chat will correct me.
Oh wait, are we going to talk about each one?
Well, I'm going to run
At the
through
end.
them all.
Just
No,
real
I'm gonna
quick,
run
just
through
real
them all.
quick. I just want to pull this up real quick because this is freaking hilarious. That's so good.
That'd be great.
Funny.
That'd be great.
So
That'd be
good.
great.
So good.
And then the next move that was made, the Den released David Del Rio, and they signed Ross Arsenault, the FCL Star Wars player.
You mean Ross from nowhere?
We know Ross from nowhere, but also this show. And Ross went perfect in his only match so far in the FCL. He looked great. And I know a lot of people were talking earlier the fact that Lacey got pregnant, and she might have to take some time off. It might be a sub for her. Plus, Thomas may be winning the belt very soon, and that's also a big pickup for Kate as well. And the Dungeon was next here. They released Chris Jericho and John Flickinger and picked up David Del Rio and Gerald Battoglia from the FCL, who has played very, very well so far.
I think he had a perfect game in his
he did
FCL.
it.
I don't think he's played twice, and I don't think he's missed.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think you're right. So he is now a Dungeon head alongside Molly, as well as David Del Rio. Just quickly, maybe one that kind of stands out to you a little bit. We'll go on the table. Brian, what are you thinking?
I'm not going by. I'm not just doing one. Ross from nowhere. Watch out. The guy's a calculator brain, so that could be a crazy smart move on Kate's part because they see him and Thomas are very similar. I feel like Harley. Brilliant move on Roxy's part. Maybe even, well, no, I'm going to keep Janine with Snyder because that pairing was perfect. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Del Rio being dropped and going to Dungeon. I don't know. I don't know how that works. And then what was the last? Them dumping Flickinger and
Jericho.
old deadweight Jericho. I
Just
mean,
go Jericho deadweight.
yeah. I mean,
I
both
didn't
of
say
those.
it.
And out.
Whatever. It's I it
Apparently,
was
he
smart.
wasn't
move.
going to play unless he was on the Stars anyway.
Yeah.
so.
Sorry, I don't respect anyone that does that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was,
If you're gonna be in the league, play for whoever drafts you. Who?
Battoglia.
Yes, I've seen him play. He could be dangerous on
Yeah.
the den, or excuse me, on the dungeon. He could be a very dangerous person on the dungeon, on top of the people he's surrounded with. I think that could be very dangerous. Yes, Brian, I dumped Flickinger a long time ago on my fantasy team. So yeah, sorry, I say what I
Jill?
mean.
I think my biggest surprise was the Del Rio drop and then the pickup because Leo said in the chat, Del Rio's schedule is very busy. So when Kate dropped him, I was sad about it, but like I get it, dude's busy. It happens. That's life. It's a good busy. It's a good busy as to why he's busy. Good busy. But then immediately got picked back up, and I was like, doesn't he have a whole bunch of stuff coming up? So I don't know. Choices were made. So that'll be interesting. So hopefully he gets a match.
Kaiser dropped 2 and
Jericho.
He dropped 2 and picked up 2.
Flickinger and Jericho are out of the dungeon.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest one I found interesting because I mean, as long as he gets one match before he gets busy, I guess that's all that really matters.
If you get one match and you get points for your faction, you've done your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and Del Rio is good.
He's good.
Like Jill,
he almost beat
he's
Chance
very
last year. He almost beat Chance last year.
Yeah, he's really good. And I think people forget about him just because he hasn't had a lot of matches. But whenever he pops up, I'm like, ooh, Del Rio. Like, he's really freaking good. So that was really interesting to me. All the FCL pickups are very exciting because that's what the FCL is for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that we've gotten it's 3 or 4 pickups now. 3 pickups from the FCL. Which is
there will be more at the end of July because that's
I'm sure
when free agency pickup happens.
I'm sure, but I was honestly surprised that there was 3 in this pickup. I thought
so was I.
Maybe one, maybe.
I agree.
But 3, and I was like, oh, okay. So I mean, that's what the FCL is for, is doing its job. And Kate is very confident in the fact that Thomas is winning a belt for her to pick up a Star Wars player and making it 3 for the Den. So I found that interesting too. But I mean, if Harper does win that belt, they're gonna need another Star Wars player.
It's a smart manager move.
Smart move. It's a smart move.
It was the best free agent move so far.
Yeah.
Outside of Kaiser, like Brian said, dropping the dead weight that hasn't really added to your faction so far this year. Kate made the smartest move she could. It's also because whether or not, like for example, whether or not Lacey is able to play, she now has a backup in case that does happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the decision was made or not, she has officially made her choice to be like, okay, if this does happen, I'm prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a smart move in every situation.
Yeah.
If Thomas wins the belt, now you have 2 players who could competing outside of title matches. There you go. It was definitely the biggest move of free agency for me. I don't know how the rest of them are going to play out. We'll see. But I definitely think we'll see Ross the most out of all the free agency pickups so far.
I think so too.
Molly?
Yeah.
Outside of the dungeon stuff, Molly. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
or speak on the dungeon
or
stuff.
speak on the dungeon stuff. Yeah.
I echo everything that you guys have said. I
Give
think
us all the scoops. All the scoops.
Spill the
Oh,
tea. Spill the tea.
Hashtag scoops.
I don't have any
Scoops.
scoops. I don't even have scoops of ice cream. I'm sorry.
Cracking under.
I pretty much echo everything you guys have said so far. I think Kate bringing in another Star Wars player for the dungeon is really, or for the den, is really smart. And again, yes, that just shows her confidence in Thomas perhaps getting that belt. And I think, I haven't spoken to Lacey, but that's all up to her, obviously, if she wants to continue to play or if she wants to take a break. But I hope she continues to play, or if she wants to take a break, I hope she comes back.
She seems like someone who sees something through
Yeah.
until the end of the season. So, and look, whether or not she enters the tournament, not sure. But if she has a match before then, she's going to see it through, and then things will decide on the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah. And she's really busy too because they're doing the whole podcast and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dungeon picks, I didn't have anything to do with that pick, obviously, but when I heard about it, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, this makes sense." Because like Jericho, I don't even know why.
What about the Jericho? What about the Jericho dinner parties that we heard about so much?
Oh well, those are.
He may be a dead weight in trivia currently, but he throws a damn good dinner party.
He throws a great dinner party.
Yeah, he's a very close friend, and we'll continue to exchange. Yeah, we'll do the whole snail mail thing. It'll be great. we'll see each other. at
I love that
Christmas.
he doesn't justify email. It's snail mail.
Yeah. But I
will
am
say-
excited to get some more players who I think are more eager to play and to study or help study, and all that good stuff.
But Toglia is going to bring that East Coast vibe, which is why he's a perfect pick
He's-
for Dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Him and Kaiser.
So it's the perfect
Him and
choice.
Kaiser
It's
are
really the
gonna-
perfect choice.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Solid.
I will
Um,
say the one last thing for that, I am very curious to see who Roxy drops for Jericho.
Yeah. Because
Very
she's going
curious.
to. Like,
Yep.
she's going to.
Very curious.
Yeah.
Because she's gonna grab him.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes bye-bye?
Yeah.
That is what I'm probably more interested in than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because we haven't been in this situation before. It's usually cut someone, pick someone up. Not like, I want this person. Who am I going to get rid of?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We will
We'll
have
see.
that conversation when it comes. 'Cause we have about a month and a half, 2 months until the next free agency period, and we will see what happens. But that's going to wrap up tonight's show, everybody. We talked about a lot, covered a lot. This week, there is no pay-per-view upcoming on Friday, so we will be covering all 3 matches on next week's show. We will be doing reactions on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But the more important thing is that Saturday, you can hang out with Jill, Molly, and one Robert Parker for the next episode of Happy Hour, where all the shenanigans will be happening. And if you think it's just going to be Parker, don't fool yourself. It's going to be
We're all mentally preparing ourselves for a dungeon takeover.
it's going to be a lot of people. I mean, we may all be kicked out at one point, and someone else may be running the stream. I don't know what's going on.
Sean will probably jump in.
Yeah, it's going to be a
yeah.
party. So
party,
stay tuned for that one. But yes, we'll be back on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I do want to give a big shout out to Mr. Thomas, who just joined our Patreon at the $1 tier, hitting up that Discord life. Glad to have you aboard, man. I know he's been in the chat for a long time, so glad to have you aboard. If you guys are interested, check out that Patreon, everybody. It's not just for Discord, but we do reactions, and our Q&A for this month just dropped last week. We do hangouts with each other. We watch movies. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good people in there as well, and we're very thankful for everyone. So before we head out, I'll just go around the table, let everybody shout out where they are online. Molly, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, you can find me at Molly Damon on Twitter, at Molly Mander on Instagram, and you can find me and Alex over on Star Wars Explained, but talking about Star Wars.
And
And on Twitch, maybe.
And
no.
And you can find Explain It to Me. Is that what you're?
Yeah.
We have too many things.
They have like
So
5
much is
different
happening.
outlets.
You can find Explain It to Me, which we're covering Loki right now on Thursdays, on our second YouTube channel, which is just called Malix, which is our couple name. It used to be just like a vlog channel, but now we're starting to stream Explain It to Me over there. So yeah, check that out.
And Jill?
Jilly Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's, Instagram and Twitter. Find me on there. Speaking my thoughts, whether you agree or not. I got thoughts. I have thoughts. I need that on a mug. I need my friend to make me a mug that says I have thoughts.
You need an
I have
Ace
thoughts.
mug that has like those, and it just says, I got thoughts.
I have thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
I have thoughts, but it's a teacup and the steam says I have thoughts.
Oh, she could probably make that for me. I'm gonna have to. I already told her I want one that says choices on it. So now I need a choices. And I have thoughts. Choices.
Yes.
And Mr. Brian.
I am I forgot for a second. B of Alcino on
Who am I?
Twitter.
Where am I? What day is it?
I literally was like, what? And then Apocalypse Movies on Tuesday. Oh, Jesus, now we have 3 shows. Tuesdays are the main show. Wednesday is Marvel Rewind. Friday is Mandalorian. Barely made it through it.
Did it.
I know. When Molly was going, I was going to say, and after Malix and see if she's
she would have like a crisis. She'd be like, "What else is there?"
Yeah.
I don't even know. There are more things I could plug, but it's too much.
You can find me on Twitter at Qui-Gon Jake 2 N's because someone else took it before I did. Apocalypse Movies with Brian multiple times a week, talking Marvel, Star Wars, DC, all kinds of movie stuff. Obviously here multiple times a week as well. I have a fun little show coming this week with the Whiskey Jedi with one fun person from the Schmoedown talking Indiana Jones. Not talking Star Wars, talking Indiana Jones. Nice little spin. So
you need to have a group. Apparently, you need to have a group of people.
Apparently, I need to have Brad Gilmore, Sean Sullivan, Christian, Mike. Like this
the amount
crew.
of hot takes
Alex.
that are happening right now.
Legit. When Kalinowski came to the party yesterday, he came straight to Sean and went, "You POS." Went off about Indiana Jones for like 25
I might
minutes.
send some feelers out and see if anybody wants to get a hot take on that show. So we'll see.
So many
There
hot
are some
takes.
hot takes going on.
so many.
But you can also find Schmoedown or a certain point of view on Twitter at Schmoedown POV. Again, check out our Patreon, everybody. Really, really fun time. And then again on Saturday, Happy Hour is back with Jill and Molly with one Robert Parker. And we will be back at 5 o'clock then. And the signature drink will come out later this week. So to everyone who has joined us, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the past hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And to one Thomas Harper, again, thank you for stopping by. Congratulations on your shot at the title. And for the whole crew here, thank you guys again. And we'll catch you guys next time.